Hey y'all, this is Married to Medicine, Season 8, Episode 19, and this is the reunion, Part 3. Okay, so we literally start off where we left off. They kind of replayed Scott's answer to the um, to the life coach thing. Remember, so they asked him last week. So what about this life coach thing? Like, was it real? Was it fake? Like, what's going on with that, right? So his answer went kind of all over the place. You know what I'm saying? So they replayed it because Andy's looking kind of confused. Like, wait, is this the answer? Because I just kind of don't understand what you just said. And Curtis is sitting there like, okay, well, there's more to his answer that he's not really sharing because he told us that made sense. And what made sense to them was that in that heat of the moment when him and Contessa was having that conversation, he just threw out, "Oh, I got a life coach," just because he wanted to, I guess, kind of have a one-up on her to say like, "Oh shoot, I already got me a life coach. Before you did, I started working on my shit first." You know what I'm saying? Like, he just felt he was threw on the spot, so he just threw anything out just to make it sound good. I guess sound good or sound bad, but it sounded bad. And I guess in this moment he just couldn't explain it like that because, like I said, everybody was just a little confused by that, and he was just saying like, hearing Quad say what she said, it it just made it seem like they was just getting a divorce right then and there, when he's trying to say we already had our conversation like months ago that we did file, but then we changed our mind, but then we was gonna sell our house, but then we changed our mind, but now we good. So it's like, it's kind of confusing, right? Dr. Kieran on the side, he's just trying to say, right, as an outsider looking in, yes, the shit is confusing. And him and Cecil would agree that listening to Quad, just as outsiders looking in, when they heard that separation um, allegation, they was just like, wait, what? So they looking at Scott, and Scott looking like, I don't know what's going on, you know what I'm saying? So for everybody, it just seemed like everybody was just threw off, like honestly just threw off. But in his mind, he like, no, we already talked about this, we already went through this, so I'm just confused, you know what I'm saying? So basically, um whew, I mean, it's just really, it is very confusing as a viewer because he's not being honest. And that's just kind of what Curtis says. He's like, so Contessa, she's saying half truths. She just going around, going around, what do you call it? Speaking around the bush or whatever, going around the bush with what she's trying to say instead of just coming out right with it. And Dr. Scott, he's trying to answer, but his answers aren't necessarily straight. So yeah, you're confusing us, you're confusing everybody. So we're just basically, y'all got the worst communication at this point. Like, it's completely shot because how does she not understand what you're going through and he don't understand what she's going through? So yeah, but y'all both trying to make it seem like it's okay. It's not okay. Um, and what he did with the life coach situation, like I just said, it was just all confusing. It was dumb on his part. I don't know if he even admitted that. Them putting their house up for sale, I mean, that's just kind of extreme. So that means that y'all really was gonna get divorced. He's saying when she went away to Tennessee that for her, she said it was them taking a break and doing their own thing. For him, he said, nah, it wasn't even like that. So it's like, what is the real truth here? You know what I'm saying? It's like, and then what else she say? Um, oh shoot, she said something back there with the ladies. Um, Maybe it was regarding the house. Oh, because she said it's not on sale anymore. He pulled out of the sale, and that oh shoot. But look, like I said, the women about to come out. We gonna get talking to them, but it was just very confusing. So I'm just sorry about this because just watching it is like, what the fuck, Dr. Scott? Like, honestly, I don't mean to cuss like that, but really, you just, I think they just need to take a little separation break for real because they don't know what each other wants at this point. It just is what it is. Oh yeah, that's what it was. Dr. Heavenly was saying how that separation thing, it did look like it was a real thing. So I think the women were confused as well. So that's what I'm saying. If you confusing the ladies, you're confusing the men, you're confusing the viewers. So Dr. Scott and Contessa just got to get together, please. All right. So the ladies come out and they all sit with their husbands. And I will say this, I thought it was nice that they actually are matching. I don't know if anybody noticed, because Heavenly, oh no, not Heavenly, because Dr. Danny's not there. Dr. Jackie had on a yellow dress, and Curtis had on a yellow suit. Dr. Simone had on a purple dress. Cecil had on a purple suit. I thought, they all matched. I thought that was kind of cute. And they kind of go straight into the Black Lives Matter thing and the COVID situation. They kind of combine both of these into one. How does everybody feel how this year went and how they were dealing with the COVID in their own little ways? Let's see, Dr. Karen, he had to shut down his practice, remember, for at least 4 to 5 months because his practice does elective surgery, and that's stuff that you want done, like your face or, I think mostly facial things, like you'll pluck your nose, pluck your eyebrows, some Botox, he do stuff like that, I think. And just saying how that was a little tough because he's of course the breadwinner in their family, and building that house at the same time was a little stressful because remember they ended up coming out of pocket $3 million for the full house, so they went over about $1 million and over budget. But like I said, that house is very, very beautiful. It's nice. And hey, they ended up, it all worked out in the end. He back up and running. Oh, everybody's back up and running. And pretty much, it was hard because, the ladies, we got the OBGYNs, they had to deal with the babies and mothers, so that was a little hard. Plus, Cecil is the only ER doctor out of there, which means he's, as an ER doctor, I think you see the most trauma out of everybody else. And he kind of got a little emotional because remember how Toya earlier was kind of crying, saying how she was afraid for him and their lives because he was just, coming home every day, he was stressed and things like that. So out of his own mouth, he just said, yeah, he was stressed, he was scared, he didn't know if he was going to catch it. Was he going to give it to Toya? Was Toya going to give it to the boys? And he was seeing people die. Seeing people die is probably not the easiest thing in the world. I think everybody knows that it's pretty tough. But seeing it every day, all the time, when you're trying to save the people, so that was stressful for him, amongst everybody else. Then we kind of go into the Black Lives Matter situation. So remember, they did the March on Washington, they did the COVID testing, they did all these wonderful things. They met up with Al Sharpton. And how was that experience for them? They all said it was great. Obviously, watching it was great. They spread lots of awareness to lots of people. They got lots of people tested. And of course, they got to meet Al Sharpton. So that's like the biggest thing ever, right? And they just kind of appreciate that because they did, they're part of history now. So kudos to all the doctors and the wives and the husbands for, pitching in and doing their part for the movement. And that was a great thing to see. So now that all that is out the way, let's get back into the relationship stuff. All right, so a couple little small things. Cecil or Simone says, well, a viewer asked about Cecil and Simone's relationship, about their Spelman love. Simone just goes to say how she just likes Cecil legs, besides his little broke down Hyundai. A little laugh there. Is Toya sending naked pictures to Eugene still? Maybe, maybe not. She said that was kind of early in their relationship. Dr. Karen, your wife talking about your package on the TV. He really had no comment for that, just saying she just spills she just be talking like her mama just be talking, out of ass, right? But he just thought it was funny, just watching it back. He just I think he's okay with mostly everything. You know what I'm saying? He's actually been all right this whole season. He got his little comments on the side. Like that's why I'm like, you gotta watch Dr. Kieran. Like he be kept like this little slick stuff, and they not really catching it like that. It's mostly in the confessional. But yeah, I wouldn't mind him coming back, and then maybe he can get more friendly with the fellas and give him more talk time. Um, we go into Eugene. So on the Twitter, he was basically talking about, well, I wouldn't say talking about, but he threw some shots at Dr. Heavenly and Miss Quad because they was talking about their house and how they trying to sell it and that they had to rob Peter and steal from Paul, or whatever that little saying is, to go and build a pool because they had to go get a loan. All this crazy stuff that they was spreading these rumors about each other. And so Eugene went on the internet and said, F y'all hoes. Like, nah, he ain't say that, but basically just said like y'all need to worry about y'all own business because we good over here, type situation. Because he said y'all just be talking about my wife and talking about me, so I was mad. I might have been a little tipsy, so I did what I did. Did he apologize? Yes, he apologized. Like, I shouldn't have done that, right? Here go Curtis. Well, if the women, it's a new day and age. If they want to get big and bad and start acting like a man, then hey, I guess it's up to us to just treat them as such, right? And of course, Eugene kind of shut it down just a little bit because he like, well, I wasn't necessarily trying to say that, Curtis, because Curtis be strong on his words, and the women don't like that. Ever since he cheated on Jackie, every time Curtis say something, they be like, did he just say something, girl? I know he didn't just say something. Did he say something? Dr. Jackie better get your husband, And he don't, I know he don't like it, but he deal with it in his most respectful way as he could. Miss Quiet, she over there, and she's just like, look, I said what I said because Toya was talking about me too. And I just had to, y'all fired shots at me. I fired them back. And that's just what it is. I said what I said and I stand in it. That's how quiet it is. She don't give a fuck. And I'll take it right. If I act like a man, I'll take on any man, whether they gay, straight, whatever. Anybody got something to say, I'll say it back. So they say, okay, fine, quiet, have your shit. I think nobody really cares about her at this point, at least the husbands. They just like, and basically, they would prefer, instead of like, let's say, I got beef with my friend husband or something because he said something I ain't like. So instead of me going to him, I guess I'm supposed to go to the wife and say, well, your husband this, that, and let the wife go to him and do that. So Eugene said that's what he did. Instead of going to Heavenly, he went to Damon. Quad ain't got no man, so hey, I just directed straight at you. When it came to Cecil and Heavenly situation, because that's why her and Simone fell out, Cecil went directly to Heavenly. He ain't go straight to Damon. But Heavenly went straight for Cecil. So it is what it is. So who's at fault here? Y'all both talk about each other. So y'all, it is what it is. That's what they keep doing on this show. Everybody talk about each other. They get mad. And now they want somebody to apologize. But then you don't want to apologize? That's why I can't stand quiet. She ain't said sorry about nothing she ever did. But anyway, yeah, so I think they beef is just gonna be it, like Quad and Toya, they gonna stay on opposite sides of the block. Her, Quad, and Miss Heavenly, they gonna stick together in they bullshit. And Heavenly Simone, they gonna stay on the opposite sides as well. And then they go back into the life coach thing because they like, Dr. Scott, well, first, are you going to change and do better about your relationship? So he says, yeah, I'm going to change now and go to counseling and stuff. Like, we working on it. So then they bring up the coach thing, like, so what's the truth? Because you said that it was a girl and that you met her before Contessa got hers. Because Heavenly brought this up. So she like, but you told me and Quad back at, remember they had their own little session? And he said, oh no, it's the man. I ain't had no female coach. It was a dude. And I've been talking to him for whatever months. And so they like, that's not, so which one is true? Was it a girl? Was it a guy? Was it nobody? Was it somebody? And he like, no, it was nobody. Which I think that was a lie as well, because y'all put him on the spot. He was sitting there in a corner. So what else was he supposed to say? I think that's just kind of problem with Dr. Scott too. Like, when you backed in the corner, you just start saying anything, you need to work on that. Okay, so Dr. Scott says that he does not have no life coach. He did not have no life coach that was a woman. He did not have a life coach that was a man. It was all a lie. Heavenly, she just always kind of just got 2 cents. So she says, "Hey, Dr. Kieran, what do you think about this?" And Dr. Kieran like, I'm not gonna say nothing. You know what I'm saying? And Contessa like, "Yeah, don't say nothing, Dr. Kieran, because we don't want. I don't want you to gang up on Scott, because when he getting, bullied into the corner, he gonna feel a little threatened, and that's gonna make, some anger come out, and I just don't want that to happen." So he like, "No, I'm not trying to do that or nothing. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to." He like, "Look, we all kind of talked about this before we came out here, but me just looking at this," he said, "it's confusing." He said, "I don't know if they getting a separation or if they not. I don't know if he had a life coach or if he didn't. Like, I don't know what happened, so I'm not gonna say that. I'm staying out of it." And Dr. Scott like, "Look, basically, he." Okay, so basically, what they're gonna do in the end is they're not gonna get a separation. They're trying to ask him what is gonna happen. Basically, like, counseling is on the radar. Like, it took him a minute to kind of figure it out again, because he didn't know what the hell Contessa was trying to talk about. But it's counseling, Dr. Scott. Y'all need to go to counseling. Y'all need to work on y'all communication, and y'all have to do something to get back on track. They brought up the children because, of course, that's kind of like one thing that I would say that's holding them together. Not only the love and the part that they want to be together, but of course the children have some type of big deal in this. They want to make sure that the decision is right for them as well, which is why they should never brought up nothing in the first place to them. And they basically got 2 different answers on a lot of things, because you know how we asked Contessa one thing. She says, "Oh, we filed 3 months ago." You ask him, he say, "Oh, we filed 1 month ago." And things are just not adding up. So what is real, what is fake? I think they probably talked about these things, but they didn't get their story right. Like, before they came out, I think maybe they had a plan on what they was gonna say, but maybe Contessa, in the heat of the moment and in her emotions, kind of might have changed it. Like, I don't know. I'm just kind of trying to figure these things out as we watch. Like, what went wrong here? What did we miss here? So maybe that's something that we might have missed. Like, maybe they knew what they wanted to try to say, but somewhere across the line, it just didn't come out right. And everything that Dr. Scott has done, they brought up the lady in the phone. He did the interview with the girl who did the facial. He posted her on the social media. He showed all the fellas, and they're like, it just wasn't right. Like, you're not supposed to do that. It just looks bad. Like, he might have felt like it was nothing, but it just looks bad. And it was just a confusing segment. They have a confusing life. And in the end, they're just going to try to work it out. So that's kind of the conclusion we all came up with. Was it the right conclusion? I don't know. It was just right, I guess, for us. I mean, we don't even know. We just have to wait and see. I don't really follow them on social media. Maybe y'all could, to kind of see what's going to happen. But I'm sure it's going to be all smiles and giggles. So we got to wait till next year. So, I don't know. Not next year. It's probably like what? Because Housewives probably gonna come on. Oh no, we gotta wait till next year, because how this go. Housewives come on around the holidays, and then anyway, let's get rid of the men and get back to the ladies. Oh yeah, and side note, remember when they brought Dr. Scott to the island? They asked Cecil and Curtis, like, was that a good idea? And they're like, no. Like, in their mind, they thought it was a good idea. because they thought that they was gonna work some things out and talk some things out. They didn't know it was gonna be an ambush. That was the thing that they was kind of caught off guard with. And I always felt that it was just wrong for Contessa to even bring up the whole situation with the girls, because none of this actually probably would have happened. They could have kind of figured this out maybe behind closed doors, and then once they got a hang of it, then we could have kind of saw what was going on. But for you to just be saying one thing and changing the other, it's just, like I said, very confusing. So hopefully they get their relationship back on track. All right, we got some viewer questions going on. So, the most shade goes to Dr. Heavenly. The habitual line stepper goes to Dr. Heavenly. If a husband or if a wife dies before the husband, what wife would you choose? When Dr. Heavenly said she'll take Eugene, of course, Toya said, nah, Eugene coming with me. After I kick the bucket, he's going to be on the next one smoking, okay? Simone says she'll probably pick like a Toya or Quad or something, because they got enough mouth to yap and cuss somebody out just like she do Cecil. So, do with that what you will. Let me see. Anila and her anybody can be a dentist comment. I mean, she just said, yeah, she could have. Hell, if she go to the school to be a dentist, yeah, she could be a dentist. If I went to school to be a dentist, I'm sure I could be a dentist. So of course, Heavenly like, it takes a lot to do what I do. Okay, yeah, sure, kudos, nothing, you know what I'm saying? But if somebody wanted to just say I can be a dentist, they surely can. Just like they can be a doctor or a lawyer. It's just all if they want to, right? Okay. Ooh, excuse me. She's a vlogger. That's what she does. A little bit shade from Heavenly, because, when Quiet, she got her a nice big old house. So the question was, so how did she feel about, how did Quiet feel about Heavenly with the tweet she gave out about the house, or just about Quiet in general? Because she's saying how, basically in the tweet, she said, don't nobody love Quiet, to put it all short, you know what I'm saying? It was kind of like a long paragraph. You'll have to research all that. But basically, talking about Quiet ain't got no husband, Quiet ain't got no kids, don't nobody love her. So, of course, Quiet kind of fell a little ways, like, girl, people do love me, including you. So, pipe down. How they feel about Carrie. Because, actually, before we get into that, because, basically, Heavenly be going below the belt. That's kind of what they were saying. And that was kind of a low shot, because how you going to say don't nobody love nobody? That's kind of some bullshit. Like, how did they feel about Carrie going up against Heavenly, you know what I'm saying, the big bad wolf? And Heavenly said, look, yeah, Carrie can stand up. They kind of all was feeling that, because, hey, she wasn't backing down to none of that shit. And when she said the Dr. Daddy Damon thing, Heavenly said, well, you know what? I was going to say that she was sleeping with her husband before he was her husband. Pulling that mistress tea about that ass, you know what I'm saying? But she said, but I didn't say it though. And they're like, bitch, you just said it. So, it is what it is. No, you better not start. Okay, let me calm him down. Oh yeah, and if Dr. Heavenly said, if she the Beyonce, then who is the other folks? And she like, who she say? Toya can be Farrah or something. Quad can be Kelly or something like that. And then she couldn't even remember Michelle. I'm like, oh hell nah. She probably is gonna be sad about that. She heard that. That wasn't even nice. And then who would they pick for Dancing with the Stars? Of course, they picked Contessa, because out of everybody, she looks the most fit. I think she said Simone would have been Kelly or something, but I don't know. That's just kind of funny. How you gonna forget Michelle? Girl, you could at least say LaToya or Latavia. Okay, so this is the end. Um, can Toya and Heavenly get back on track? Heavenly says, yeah, sure. I think we can get back on track. Toya says, yeah, I think as long as we communicate, or as long as they continue to talk to each other, especially off camera, if they can call each other more, if they can visit each other more, that's what she would, kind of would love, just to help build their friendship back up. Dr. Jackie, she says she wants to talk to Dr. Jackie more, of course. And she said, I ain't been to her house yet, so can I come over, Jackie? Like, invite me over. And Jackie, like, yeah, you come over to my house. And she said, yeah, I bring the kids. And, Jackie was like, ain't no kids coming to my house now. Come on now. I like my stuff clean and then, pristine, She said, yeah, they well behaved now. They old enough. And Simone looking like, bitch, I've been her friend for over 20 whatever years, bitch. My kids barely go over there. So I know. Your kids ain't going nowhere. She said that too about Dr. Contessa. She like, yeah, Contessa, you come over too. And she said, yeah, bring my kids. You can come over, but the kids can't. Like, what? Do they not understand, Andy? Me and Curtis, we don't. I mean, he got a daughter. She come over. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. Toya and Anila, they can get back on track. You know what I'm saying? Like, after they basically just need to talk more. Toya has not moved just yet, so while they're still in the neighborhood, they can get together and try to squash their little beef, and stop beefing really over nothing. It's just, I just feel like, right, Toya was just going through some things, and she was just putting out a whole bunch of craziness this whole season. And I feel like once, because COVID has calmed down, I think the hospitals have probably calmed down. So I think maybe once her and Eugene got back right on track, then maybe they all can get right back on track. At least she can with her friends. So it is what it is when it comes to that. Anila's happy that she joined the group. She's, I think the girls enjoyed that she was there, and she appreciates, joining this group of color, because of course she's a girl of color. It might not be necessarily African American, but you know what I'm saying, it's still brown skin. So we welcome Anila. Miss Qua, how you doing over there? Andy's like, so you got anything to get off your chest? And she's like, oh no, I'm good or whatever. I just, when Toya over there was talking about my apartment, I just had to let her know that, I live in a $2.2 million home and I got it all by myself. I did not have to beg, steal, borrow, or beg to get my things. I did it all on my own, because you can call, I don't know, JP Morgan, ask them about my credit score and my investments. And she's like, what the fuck? Why is you over there trying to clock me on me and my finances? And they just go, I'm like, really quiet? Really? Why is she here? Then Andy had to break that up. Like, wait a minute, this was supposed to be a happy moment. They're like, yeah, okay. It's quiet. She the one acting up. Obviously, it's quiet. So they kind of flipped the script to Contessa, like, how are you gonna do after this? She says, like, look, me and Scott is just gonna work on our issues. We're gonna work on our relationship. She says she feels that they got a normal marriage. Of course, a couple noses got turned up at this, especially Quiet, of course. But she just said, look, her and Scott gonna go to that counseling. They're gonna figure it out, and hopefully she can get back on track with some of the other ladies who she kind of fell off with. Because if you notice, her and Toya done made up. Like, I don't know if they even talked this out or anything, but they just slowly kind of, for some reason, got back on track. So I kind of enjoyed that. And we just kind of closed, with Jackie just saying how, look, it was a good season and everybody enjoyed themselves. We can't wait to get back to next season. This season was the COVID season. I'm gonna call that the COVID season. Pretty much everybody's show. It was the COVID season. Now that we over with, next season should definitely be way better. You know, the trips and everything will be back on track to normal. So can't wait for that. Can't wait. And yeah, peace out to y'all. Contessa and Scott, get it together, y'all. And Quad, does she have to come back? Does she have to come back? She gotta come back. Peace out.